Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. The package came to the office on a Tuesday morning. It was wrapped in plain brown paper and had no return address. It sat on the mahogany desk between some reports and a cold cup of coffee. It looked harmless. But the writing on the label made the person who saw it go pale. "Another delivery for you," the receptionist said, smiling. She did not notice how the person's hands shook when signing for it. In the corner office with a view of tall buildings, the person opened the package. Inside was a note written in purple ink, the same color she always used. "Wear these tomorrow under your suit, or everyone at Morrison & Associates learns about Vegas." Under the note was a pair of pink silk panties. The chair made a sound as the person sat back, staring at the underwear. Vegas. That weekend 2 years ago when everything went wrong. What happened there was not just embarrassing. It could ruin a career and destroy a reputation built over 10 years as a lawyer. "Are you okay in there?" someone asked, knocking on the door. The package was quickly put into a desk drawer. "Fine, just reviewing the Henderson files." The next morning, standing before the bedroom mirror in a charcoal gray suit, the ultimatum felt heavier than the silk against skin. The panties were invisible under tailored trousers, but their presence was impossible to ignore during the partners' meeting. "Excellent work on the Morrison acquisition," the senior partner said. "We're promoting you to lead counsel on the Tech Dynamics merger." "Thank you, sir." The words came out steady despite the surreal situation. Another package arrived 3 days later, this time a lavender blouse with pearl buttons. "Wear this to work tomorrow, no jacket over it." The bathroom mirror reflected someone caught between two worlds, suit trousers and dress shoes below, but the lavender silk above changed everything. The color brought out hidden warmth in skin tone, made eyes appear larger. "New look?" The paralegal barely glanced up from her files when passing in the hallway. "Trying something different." By the end of the week, reactions had shifted from surprise to acceptance. The lavender blouse became part of the office landscape, just another detail in the daily routine of contracts and client calls. The packages kept coming. A pencil skirt in navy blue, heeled pumps in black patent leather. Each item accompanied by threats that grew more specific. The photos from the casino, the video from the hotel room. Wear the whole outfit Monday. Monday morning arrived with the weight of inevitability. The mirror now showed someone almost unrecognizable. Navy skirt hitting just above the knee, lavender blouse tucked in neatly, feet awkward in 3-inch heels. Auburn hair, usually kept short and professional, seemed to need styling differently now. "Looking sharp?" the security guard said, then did a double take. "Sorry, it's fine." The conference room felt smaller that day. Colleagues' eyes followed movement differently, lingered on crossed legs, noticed the way manicured fingers, when had that happened, gestured during presentations. "Excellent points on the liability clause," a junior associate said after the meeting. "And I love your outfit." The compliment felt strange but not entirely unwelcome. Weeks blurred together. The packages evolved. Dresses replaced separates. Makeup appeared with detailed instructions. Jewelry added finishing touches. The mirror became a daily negotiation with an emerging identity. Time for the next phase. Doctor's appointment scheduled for Thursday. The prescription is already called in. The endocrinologist's office smelled like disinfectant and vanilla candles. The doctor, a woman with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, reviewed the paperwork without judgment. "The blood work looks normal. We'll start with a low dose and monitor your progress. Any questions? What about work? My voice?" Changes happen gradually. Most people adapt without realizing it. The small blue pills looked harmless enough, but taking that first dose felt like crossing a bridge that would burn behind her. 3 months in, the changes were undeniable. Skin softened, body redistributed in subtle ways. Emotions felt closer to the surface. The men's bathroom had become uncomfortable weeks ago. The ladies' room felt natural now. "We need to update your email signature," HR mentioned during a routine check-in. "What name would you prefer?" The question hung in the air. The blackmailer's latest note had been specific. Marley. Your name is Marley now. Marley, she heard herself say. Marley with an EY. The HR manager typed efficiently. I'll send out the announcement this afternoon. Pronouns? She, her. It felt like watching someone else's life unfold, except it was happening in her body, with her voice, though that voice had started to shift, settling into a higher register that colleagues accepted without question. The legal name change papers arrived pre-filled, requiring only signatures. The blackmailer had thought of everything, down to the court fees already paid. The judge barely looked up during the brief hearing. Petition granted. Congratulations, Ms. Morrison. Morrison. Even the surname had changed, severing the last official link to who she'd been before. The apartment transformed too. Male clothing disappeared piece by piece, donated or thrown away according to instructions that arrived like clockwork. The closet filled with dresses in jewel tones, skirts in various lengths, blouses in silk and cotton. The bathroom cabinet overflowed with skincare products, makeup in subtle shades, hair accessories for auburn locks that now reached past her shoulders. You look radiant, a client mentioned during a lunch meeting. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. The compliment felt genuine this time. The mirror that morning had shown someone who moved with growing confidence in a forest green sheath dress and nude pumps. The auburn hair fell in soft waves, framing features that hormones had subtly feminized. Work thrived despite, or perhaps because of, the transformation. Clients responded well to Marley's approach, finding her more approachable while still respecting her legal expertise. The Tech Dynamics merger closed successfully, earning a substantial bonus and partnership track consideration. We need someone like you leading our diversity initiatives, the managing partner said during her review. Your perspective would be valuable. I'll consider it. The blackmail letters had stopped arriving 2 months ago. The ex-girlfriend had gotten what she wanted: complete transformation, irreversible changes, a new identity legally and socially cemented. But somewhere along the way, the forced feminization had become simply life. Marley's phone buzzed with a text from a colleague. Drinks after work? The usual place? Be there at 6, she replied, already knowing she'd wear the burgundy dress that made her feel powerful. The parking garage echoed with the click of heels on concrete. The car, re-registered in her new name, started smoothly. The radio played a song from years ago, from before everything changed, but it felt like someone else's memory. At home that evening, Marley stood before the full-length mirror in her bedroom. The burgundy dress hugged curves that hadn't existed a year ago. The auburn hair caught the light from the bedside lamp. Every trace of who she'd been before had vanished, replaced by this polished professional woman who commanded respect in boardrooms and turned heads at restaurants. The doorbell rang unexpectedly. Through the peephole stood a delivery person with another brown package. I didn't order anything. Says delivery for Marley Morrison. The package felt different, lighter, smaller. Inside, a single sheet of paper. You've become everything I envisioned. The photos and videos have been destroyed. Live your life. Beneath the note lay a jewelry box. Inside, a delicate silver necklace with a small pendant. The scales of justice, appropriate for a lawyer. Marley fastened it around her neck, where it settled perfectly above the neckline of the burgundy dress. The mirror reflected someone complete. Not the person who'd opened that first package months ago, but someone new. Someone who'd found success and confidence in unexpected circumstances. The transformation that began as blackmail had become liberation from a life that never quite fit anyway. Monday morning arrived with its usual bustle. Marley selected a plum-colored suit from the closet, paired with a cream silk blouse and black pumps with a modest heel. The morning routine, skincare, subtle makeup, styling auburn waves, had become second nature. Morning, Marley, the security guard called out cheerfully. Morning, Robert. The elevator carried her up to the executive floor, where her nameplate read Marley Morrison, Senior Counsel, in elegant lettering. The corner office still had the same view, but everything else had changed. Your 9 o'clock is here, the assistant announced. The Patterson Industries team. Send them in. The meeting flowed smoothly. Marley's legal arguments were precise, her negotiation tactics refined. The plum suit commanded attention while maintaining professionalism. When she stood to shake hands at the meeting's conclusion, the client seemed impressed. "Excellent work as always, Ms. Morrison. We look forward to continuing our partnership." Lunch was at the club downtown, where membership had transferred seamlessly to her new name. The maitre d' recognized her immediately. "Your usual table, Ms. Morrison? Please." Over salad and white wine, she reviewed contracts on her tablet. Other diners occasionally glanced over. A successful woman dining alone wasn't unusual here, but Marley carried herself with a poise that drew subtle attention. The auburn hair caught sunlight from the tall windows. The plum suit impeccable even after a morning of meetings. "Marley?" A voice from the past made her look up. "Is that really you?" Standing beside the table was someone from law school. From before everything changed, recognition flickered in his eyes, followed by confusion, then something like understanding. "Hello, David. I heard you were at Morrison & Associates. Didn't realize..." He gestured vaguely. "You look amazing." "Thank you. How's your practice?" They chatted briefly about mutual acquaintances and recent cases. David seemed to accept the transformation without question, as if successful female attorneys regularly emerged from different beginnings. When he left, Marley returned to her contracts without dwelling on the encounter. The afternoon brought more meetings, a deposition, phone calls with international clients. Through it all, the woman in plum moved with practiced grace. Heels clicked confidently on marble floors. Manicured fingers typed rapidly on keyboards. The silver necklace caught light when she turned her head. "Fantastic job today," a partner commented while passing in the hallway. "The Patterson deal is going to be huge for the firm." "Just doing my job?" But it was more than that. Every success felt like validation of the journey, willing or not, that had brought her here. The blackmail had ended, but the life it created continued to unfold. Evening painted the sky purple and orange beyond the office windows. Marley gathered her things, a leather purse in black, files in a burgundy portfolio that matched her nails, the smartphone in its rose gold case. The workday was ending, but the transformation never stopped. At home, she changed into comfortable clothes, yoga pants and an oversized sweater in soft gray. The full closet still surprised her sometimes. Rows of professional wear and casual clothes, all decidedly feminine. No trace remained of the wardrobe that once filled this space. The kitchen had changed too. Meals became lighter, cooking more adventurous. Tonight was pasta with lemon and herbs, white wine in a proper glass, classical music from hidden speakers. The apartment felt like a sanctuary designed for someone who knew herself completely. After dinner, Marley settled onto the couch with legal briefs and highlighters. Work continued at home, but the surroundings made it pleasant. Throw pillows in jewel tones, soft lighting, fresh flowers on the coffee table, details that the person she'd been before would never have noticed. The phone rang. Her mother's weekly call, right on schedule. "How are you, dear?" The conversations had been stilted at first, full of careful pronouns and awkward pauses, but months of consistency had worn down resistance. Now her mother asked about work, dating prospects, whether she was eating enough. "I'm fine, Mom. Busy with a big case." "You work too hard. Are you seeing anyone?" The question that would have been impossible to answer before now just prompted a gentle laugh. "No time for that right now." "Well, when you're ready. You're such a lovely young woman, Marley. Someone will be lucky to have you." The acceptance in those words, young woman, not young man trying to be something else, still felt surreal. But it was real as the hormones reshaping her body, as real as the legal documents with her new name, as real as the life she lived every day. After the call, Marley returned to work. The briefs required attention. Tomorrow's court appearance needed preparation. The woman in gray yoga pants and an oversized sweater bore little resemblance to the man in the charcoal suit who'd opened that first package. But the legal mind remained sharp, perhaps sharper for being housed in a body that finally felt right. Near midnight, she prepared for bed. The skincare routine took 15 minutes. Cleansing, toning, moisturizing, eye cream. Auburn hair got brushed out and secured with a silk scrunchie. The nightgown in soft lavender felt cool against skin still adjusting to new sensitivities. The bedroom mirror offered one last reflection before sleep. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities to prove herself in the legal world. The next acquisition, the next merger, the next victory in court, all waiting for Marley Morrison to handle with expertise and grace. The transformation was complete and irreversible. What started as blackmail had become truth. The packages had stopped coming, the threats had ended, but their work was done. The person in the mirror would wake tomorrow as the same woman who went to sleep tonight. Auburn-haired, professionally successful, legally and socially recognized as female. Marley turned off the bedside lamp and settled under covers that smelled faintly of lavender fabric softener. Tomorrow's outfit was already selected, a navy dress with subtle pinstripes, paired with the black pumps that had become favorites. The morning would bring the usual routine of preparation, the afternoon its meetings and calls, the evening its quiet domesticity. This was life now, not a costume to wear or a role to play, but simply existence as Marley Morrison, attorney at law, woman of growing influence and confidence. The ex-girlfriend's revenge had transformed into something unexpected, a gift of becoming, even if the wrapping had been cruel. Sleep came easily to the woman in the lavender nightgown. Dreams, when they came, featured courtrooms where she argued brilliantly in heels and pearls, boardrooms where her opinions carried weight, a future stretching ahead filled with possibilities that the person she'd been before could never have imagined. Morning arrived with sunlight through sheer curtains. Marley woke slowly, stretching in the queen-sized bed before padding to the bathroom in bare feet. The mirror showed sleep-mussed auburn hair and a face that needed its morning routine. Just another day in a life that had become authentically hers. The navy dress with pinstripes fit perfectly, professional yet feminine. The black pumps added 3 inches of height and miles of confidence. Makeup went on with practiced ease. Foundation, subtle eyeshadow, mascara that made already long lashes dramatic, lipstick in a shade called Courtroom Coral. Breakfast was yogurt with granola, orange juice in a crystal glass, vitamins that included the hormones maintaining her transformation. The morning news played on the kitchen television while she reviewed notes for the day's first meeting. The drive to work took 20 minutes in morning traffic. The car's mirror had been adjusted for her new height and heels, the seat positioned differently to accommodate changed proportions, small adaptations that had become unconscious, like everything else about this life. "Good morning, Ms. Morrison," the parking attendant said with a smile. "Morning, James." The elevator ride, the walk down the hallway, the turn into her office, all performed in heels that no longer felt foreign. The day stretched ahead with its usual mix of challenges and rewards. By noon, 3 contracts had been reviewed, 2 calls with Tokyo completed, and a junior associate mentored through her first major negotiation. Marley moved through it all with the competence that had made her valuable to the firm before and after transformation. Lunch was in the conference room, a working meal with the litigation team. The navy dress with pinstripes held up well under fluorescent lights, the modest neckline appropriate for professional settings. When she stood to write key points on the whiteboard, no one looked twice at the woman in charge of strategy. "Brilliant approach," the lead litigator said. "The opposition won't see it coming." That's the idea. The afternoon brought a deposition that required all her skills. Sitting across from opposing counsel, Marley guided her client through dangerous questions with subtle hand signals and perfectly timed objections. The court reporter, another woman navigating professional spaces, shared a moment of mutual recognition during a break. "You're very good at this," she said quietly. "Practice," Marley replied, though they both knew it meant more than legal skills. 5 o'clock came and went. The office gradually emptied, but Marley remained, preparing for tomorrow's arbitration. The navy dress had held its shape all day, the black pumps still surprisingly comfortable. The silver necklace, the final gift from her blackmailer, caught lamplight as she bent over documents. "Still here?" The night security guard peered in during rounds. "Just finishing up." "Don't work too late, Ms. Morrison." The concern felt paternal, protective in a way that would have rankled before but now seemed natural. Marley was seen as someone who might need reminding to go home, to take care of herself. A successful woman who worked too hard, not a threat or an oddity. By 7, hunger won over dedication. The files went into her burgundy portfolio, the computer powered down, the office lights switched off. The parking garage echoed with her footsteps, each click of heels a small announcement of presence. Dinner was at a small Italian place near home, where the owner knew her by name and always had a table available. Over butternut squash ravioli and a glass of Pinot Grigio, Marley reviewed tomorrow's calendar on her phone. The arbitration, 2 client meetings, a partner's lunch to discuss the promotion track. Everything delicious? The waiter had become friendly over months of regular visits. Perfect as always. Home by 8:30, changed into comfortable clothes by 9. The evening ritual of self-care had become precious. The careful removal of makeup, the application of night creams, the brushing out of auburn hair that had grown past shoulder length. Each step reinforced the reality of who she'd become. The ex-girlfriend had wanted revenge, had forced this transformation through threats and manipulation. But somewhere between the first package and the last, between the terrified man in panties and the confident woman preparing for bed, something had shifted. The punishment had become liberation. The forced change a gift wrapped in cruelty. Marley settled into bed with a legal thriller, reading glasses perched on her nose. Tomorrow would bring its challenges. The arbitration would be tough, the partner's lunch crucial for her career advancement. But she would meet them as herself, as the woman she'd been shaped into and then chosen to remain. The book eventually fell to the nightstand. Lights dimmed, then went out. In the darkness, the sound of breathing was higher pitched than it once had been. The body under designer sheets curved differently. But the mind planning tomorrow's legal strategies remained brilliant, perhaps more so for finally residing where it belonged. Days became weeks, weeks became months. The arbitration was won, the promotion secured. Marley Morrison, junior partner, had a nice ring to it. The corner office gained a small sitting area for client consultations. The wardrobe expanded to include more designer suits. The social calendar filled with professional obligations that felt like opportunities. "You've really come into your own," the managing partner mentioned at the firm's annual gala. Marley stood beside him in an emerald evening gown, auburn hair styled in an elegant updo, the silver scales of justice pendant, her only jewelry besides pearl earrings. Other attendees saw a successful attorney, a rising star in the legal community, a woman who commanded respect. "I had good mentors," she replied diplomatically. The band played standards while lawyers and their guests mingled. Marley moved through the crowd with practiced ease, discussing cases with colleagues, charming clients with legal anecdotes, deflecting personal questions with professional grace. "Would you like to dance?" A senior partner from another firm extended his hand. "I'd be delighted." They moved together on the dance floor, his hand proper at her waist, her gown swirling with each turn. The man who'd once feared wearing panties under his suit had vanished completely, replaced by this poised woman who danced in heels without stumbling. "You're quite accomplished," her dance partner noted. "Morrison and Associates is lucky to have you." "I'm lucky to be there." But luck had little to do with it. Every success had been earned through long hours and sharp intellect, every achievement built on the foundation of unexpected transformation. The blackmail had ended, but the work ethic remained. The evening wound down with speeches and awards. Marley accepted recognition for the Tech Dynamics merger with a brief speech that thanked her team and promised continued excellence. The applause felt genuine, unmarred by whispers about her transformation. To most in the room, she'd simply appeared one day as a talented attorney who happened to be female. The drive home in the December darkness gave time for reflection. The emerald gown would need dry cleaning. The updo had started to loosen. Her feet ached despite choosing lower heels for the event. But satisfaction outweighed discomfort. Another milestone passed. another proof that the life forced upon her had become one worth living. At home, the careful process of undressing and preparing for bed felt like closing a chapter. The gown hung carefully in the closet among its peers, the jewelry returned to its velvet-lined box, the elaborate hairstyle brushed out until auburn waves fell naturally. The woman in the bathroom mirror wore only a silk robe in soft pink, face clean of makeup, looking younger than her years, despite or because of the journey traveled. Tomorrow was Saturday, a rare day without obligations. Perhaps shopping for a new suit, maybe brunch with colleagues who'd become friends, certainly review of the Miller case files. But tonight was for rest, for existing in the quiet space between who she'd been made to become and who she'd chosen to remain. The ex-girlfriend had disappeared after that final package, her revenge complete. She'd never know that her victim had become Victor, that the punishment had transformed into purpose. Marley turned off the bathroom light and headed for bed. The silk robe whispered against skin still sensitive from hormonal changes, the hardwood floor cool under bare feet. Everything about this life, from the designer wardrobe to the legal victories to the body itself, had been imposed from outside. But ownership had shifted somewhere along the way. The bedroom welcomed with soft sheets and perfect pillows. Tomorrow would bring its own requirements, its own performances of femininity now internalized as truth. But tonight offered simple existence as Marley Morrison, woman, lawyer, survivor of a transformation that had begun in fear and flowered into something unexpectedly beautiful. Sleep came easily, as it did most nights now. Dreams featured courtrooms where she argued brilliantly, boardrooms where her opinions shaped corporate futures, a life stretching ahead limited only by ambition and ability. The person who'd opened that first package would have been terrified by these visions. The woman dreaming them found only inspiration. Morning would come with its routines and requirements. But for now, Marley rested in the life that blackmail had built and choice had claimed. Auburn hair spread across pillows, breathing even and peaceful in the darkness of a bedroom, decorated with subtle feminine touches. The transformation was complete, irreversible, and ultimately embraced. This was who she was now. This was who she would remain. And despite its cruel beginnings, or perhaps because surviving them had revealed hidden strength, it was enough, more than enough, it was everything. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.